Okay, cool. Thank you for coming back to another uh little video, you know what I'm saying? And so what we're gonna be doing today is we're actually going to be going over the P Valley. I actually like P Valley. It was a really good show, and it shows us how the different sides of a business, right? I mean, yes, it's entertaining. Um, the setting is a good setting. It takes place. It basically shows us, the ins and outs of a strip club, but the ins and outs of yet another business. And that's why we're gonna review the show. Of course, there's a lot of drama and things, moving parts, inside the show. But that's the entertainment factor. But while we're being entertained, we're also learning in the same time. And that's the whole point of me doing this. So here it goes. P Valley has started its second season. This is episode one review. I know it's a little late, but better late than never, right? So let's get in, because what P Valley is going to show us is the ins and outs, ups and downs, the good and bad, the cute and ugly sides of having a business, basically. All right. So I got to first fill you in on season one, because I know some people didn't see season one, but you probably shouldn't be looking at a review for season two. If you hadn't seen the first season, you just got to go binge on your day off and catch up. But I'll give you a little bit of a story. So, like I said, this show is based on a struggling strip club up in Chucalissa, uh, no, Chucalissa, excuse me, Mississippi. I've never been there. I don't even know if it's a real place. But that is the setting. So, this club in season one, we had Uncle Clifford who owned the club. He was in debt then. He was behind in taxes. He was about to be foreclosed on. He was trying to fight that and prevent that, but ended up not happening. So the club was actually bought by one of the girls who worked at the club. Okay. So she ended up basically stealing all this money from this guy and using that money to buy the club. So now she's the new owner of the club, and I believe it said in the episode that she gave Uncle Clifford like 15% ownership. So they're like they have a little partnership going on because he knows how to run the club more than she does, but she had the cash. So yeah, partnerships, businesships. Partnerships can sometimes be that way, where you have a partner that has the cash and the capital, and the other partner has the know-how and whatever, and they come together and they make a good partnership. So that's what we're going to be looking at. Well, one aspect of what we're going to be looking at, but that's the main plot. But there's a lot of moving parts in this show, so just get ready. So let me see here. Now, they have a new major crisis in this one, because in the setting of season two, we're talking about during the pandemic, right? So because of that setting, they've incorporated basically how the business is now struggling because of this whole crisis. So the world is shut down. So at the beginning of this episode, the world is still shut down. It's still in effect. So in season one, we saw how it was to deal with owning a business. For those of us who know it and watch it, like I said, if you haven't watched it, go back and do that. The cost to running a business, and then also having employees and all the drama that may come about just by having those, right? And so then we learned about Uncle Clifford. Uncle Clifford. He is the Butch Queen guy who actually owns the club. Um, he runs the club as well. Now Uncle Clifford, he was behind on his property taxes and things, and so they were trying to foreclose on the business and take it. Um, we have Harriet. Harriet is the mother of one of the main cast members, Mercedes. Mercedes is one of the main girls that work at the club, at the Pink, right? And so you have Harriet. She just stole Mercedes' money. So if you watch season one, um, the big thing was around Mercedes doing her last dance. She was like an experienced dancer, and she had been at the club for a long time. She had been saving up a lot of money because she had a little dance group, a little girls, some little girls that she teaches and dances, and they compete, right? And so um these little girls, she basically wanted a dance studio. She was saving up for that. So she had saved up the money that she was supposed to save, but her mother was trying to basically climb the religious ladder in the church that she was in. And so this church was trying to basically get some funds and things, and trying to get this loan. Well, they didn't have anything to basically back the loan. So the mother and Harriet and Mercedes basically came up with a way to do so. So basically, the mom took, well, not took, but basically, Mercedes gave Harriet the money to help the church get the loan, like to back like as collateral for the loan that the church was trying to get. Well, they got the loan, did everything they were supposed to do and all that. So her mother decided then, because she couldn't get her way at the church, because she thought this was gonna bring her all this type of notoriety and fame, right? In the church. And she up on Sunday mornings, and she's supposed to be giving the announcements, and Sister Girl trying to preach a whole sermon. And so, the men in the church who were her pastors or whatever the case may be, just kind of like sat her down, like, you doing too much. This is not your church. This is our church. This is what the men do. This is, women don't supposed to be doing all this, that in the church. So homegirl gets fed up with that, because she like, dang, I done helped this person. I done poured so much money into this congregation or this church ministry. I've also helped y'all get a loan by using money that my daughter made down at the club. um I think she called it booty money. I think she called it booty money. But y'all done took the daughter booty money to get to back this loan, and I still can't do what I want to do in the church. Basically, is how she felt. So she takes the daughter's money that she has saved. That, mind you, she's going to buy this building with. She just took this woman money and then bought this building for herself with the girl money, and turned it into her own church. So this girl's dreams have been crushed, because she has been an exotic dancer making bank at this club for years, saving up this money for her dream, and her own mother took it from her. So that was a disgrace. Then we got Andre. Andre is basically battling with trying not to cheat in politics. That's basically what he was doing the whole first season, because basically what he was trying to do is he was trying to help a casino come through town. I think he's kind of like in real estate, like commercial real estate. And so they were trying to build this casino, which put the club in jeopardy, because it would actually require that the club be torn down in order for the casino to, get the property that they want. And of course, Uncle Clifford ain't trying to hear that. So there's that. And then there's also the ties between color and race that they got going back and forth, where it's like, and not even just race, religion as well, because you got these people who feel like, oh, because of religious reasons, the strip club doesn't need to be there, the casino don't need to be there either. You got these other people that's like, oh, well, the white people want the casino, the black people that support the strip club want to keep the strip club. It's a lot going on. And so here's this guy who is black, but like I said, in like commercial real estate. And so he is actually supposed to be working for the company that's trying to get the casino, but also at the same time is developing a type of relationship basically with one of the girls who works at the actual club. And so therefore he's kind of torn between two decisions to make. But on top of that, this man is married to a nurse. But nonetheless, so he has these people, these politicians and things, who are trying to back this casino, who are throwing him money to try to get the owners of the club to sell. And then he has the owner of the club, who is now who is Haley, who is a new owner. He couldn't get the old owner to sell, so now they have a new owner. So it's just that's a whole new plot. Then we got Haley, who basically thought she got away with stealing this money. Remember, I told y'all she bought the club. So in the first season, she had stole this money from this guy. Still, I'm not even. Yeah, anyway, she had stole this money from this guy. She tried to kill him. She thought she killed him. She was wiring the money to herself. And so I'm assuming she went to the strip club to kind of make it look like, oh, this is why I'm getting all this money, is because I'm dancing down at the club. And so, dancers make a lot of money. And so basically, she's trying to basically pass it off. So anyway, she has saved up $250,000, which she ends up putting down at the auction on this club and saving the club. So yeah, that happened. Well, the guy that she stole it from, she thought she killed him, but she didn't really kill him. So yeah, he came back for it, and then she got a second chance, and she actually succeeded this time in actually killing him, and she actually get away with the money. And Uncle Clifford actually was the person that helped her get rid of the body. So therefore, they have this dirt on one another and are somewhat indebted to one another because she bought the club and saved the club, and he didn't know she was going to do it, and he helped her get rid of the body, and didn't saved her from basically going to jail for the rest of her life for murder. So there's that. All right, now Uncle Clifford and Corbin are basically trying to keep the casino from being built. Um, and wow, basically, like I said, Andre doing the opposite. Haley ends up buying the club. Lil Murder is still trying to Lil Murder is still DL with a circle around it. Um, he is still trying to pretend and play this straight role and hold up this straight reputation, but he also still trying to make it big and get out of Chuckalisa because, as he said, make it about that mud. So he's still, going with his rap career. The pandemic, again, like I said, it's happened. So he's at home trying to figure that all out. Now, Derek, y'all remember Derek? He was the guy, the white guy that was with Miss Mississippi in season one. If y'all watch it again, go back and watch it. If you know, you know. You know that Miss Mississippi was getting beat up by her husband, Derek, which was the white guy. She's black, he's white, whatever. Boom. They got a family together, all that good stuff. But he's super abusive and apparently he likes to get drunk, very insecure and super jealous. So, anyways, Derek is still beating on Mississippi, and that's why Diamond almost got shot. Diamond is the security guard that works at the club. So he actually kind of started liking Miss Mississippi, and he noticed the way that basically her husband was treating her. He didn't like it because he was abusive, so he kind of took up for her or whatever. When he seemed to be getting a little bit out of hand. Well, he actually ends up getting in a fight with Derek at the end of season one. Miss Mississippi ended up pulling a gun on him and basically just asking him, pleading for him to stop beating up her husband, even though her husband had just called him a gutter N-word, but whatever. Um, she she pulled a gun on Diamond and begged him to stop beating up her husband. And so that's where that ends. Y'all all caught up. Okay. All right. So let's get into it because we don't got that much time. So scene one. Excuse me, getting over a cold. It's a cough. I'm on your screen. You won't catch it. It's fine. All right. Scene one begins with a dad. And basically all his kids are celebrating his birthday. And this man got like 10 kids in one apartment, I promise you. But it's his happy birthday, daddy, blase blase. Again, this is during the lockdown. So this guy is literally not working everything. He's on his computer looking like he's stressing out over bills. And all this noise is taking place in the background because this birthday party is going on with about 10 kids. And it's for him, but it's not really a birthday party, an adult birthday party. It's just him and all his kids in a small apartment and his wife. And there's all this noise and they playing. It was a lot. It was a lot for me, and I was just watching. Okay. So this man's like, you know what? I'm going down to the 7-Eleven. So his wife like, what the? You gonna leave your own party? Bro got out of there. So he gets out of there, whatever. They got a lot of symbolism going on, whatever the case may be. He see this billboard and he see Harriet Thief. He see Harriet on there with her church stuff, and it's on a billboard with her church, being advertised, and it's graffitied up because Harriet ain't no good for real. And so then he also looks the other way. It was like so crazy because he looks the other way and he sees the girl that is holding a sign that is advertising the pink, which is used to be the strip club, but now they have made it like an outside drive up car wash type of deal. It was actually very innovative for the times. Um, and I thought whoever even came up with that concept, even for the show, even if just for the show, whoever came up with that concept in general, that was actually pretty good. Um, so scene one begins with this guy. So he gets overwhelmed and he's trying to decide basically what he wants to do. Does he wants does he choose, the heavenly way of doing things? And I'm assuming is what they're trying to say with this billboard, or does he, listen to the devil on his shoulders was telling him to go over to, the strip car wash club place. Anyways, so, of course, he chose the strip club. He went to the strip club. So, it wasn't I mean, it's not really a club. So, basically, it's a strip car wash. So, basically, they have it set up where you pay your admission fee, based upon what you want, a hand wash or some other advertisement they had it in. You pay your money and you drive into a tent. It's literally like a tent outside. You drive into the tent. Now, granted, your outside of your car does get washed. But all the girls come out, they're dancing. Well, first of all, Uncle Clifford showed up first, and dude was not ready for Uncle Clifford to show up because he was immediately like, "What in the world is going on here? Did I just what did I just get myself into?" I know he paid at least $30 because that was the smallest price that I saw on the what's the thing, the kiosk, the little sign or whatever that they had. So he paid at least $30. So when he saw Uncle Clifford come out there in his little suit, he was like, "This is not what I paid for." But of course, in good Uncle Clifford fashion, he brings out his girls. And so the different girls start coming out from all different angles. It would seem. And then the car wash itself start going. So these girls are literally rubbing their bodies and everything up against this car wash. And this man is just basically just getting the physical scene of his life, right? And it's all for him because he's the only one in the car and the only one in the tent at the time. And then you see Mercedes, she's the main event, main attraction again. So clearly she didn't get to do her last dance because remember I told y'all Harriet stole her money and bought a church, or bought the building and turned it into a church. So Mercedes is the main attraction. She comes out, she does her dance, whatever. Some girl came out looking like a spider monkey. It was kind of weird for me, but the guy, he enjoyed his time, or whatever case may be, he enjoyed the show. He gets his complimentary wings, couple of wipes. They send him on about his way. Right? Oh, right. So we get to the scene where the girls are splitting the money at the end. So what we figured out is that okay, they have, like I said, this whole tent idea going on to try to still make money throughout the pandemic, but business is going down because everybody's shut down, everybody's at home scared, people are passing away left and right, so they're not making that much business. Only the people who feel like it's okay or they just have to come out, they come, and so business has been slow. Now some of the girls are no longer dancing, like Miss Mississippi for instance. She's no longer dancing with the pink or at the pink. She's at home, along with some of the other women, ladies who used to dance are not there. So they're also short on girl. And literally, when I say Mercedes is the only one that I guess could really put on a show, that's all they got to lean back on. So you got the next scene. Next scene's with Lil Murda. Him and his producer, they're sitting in the I can't remember his name, but he's the guy that's the B cast. He's the guy that is the DJ for the actual Pink Club. But anyways, he's Lil Murda's producer, and he's not that great at it. But Lil Murda, he been rocking with him. He's like his right hand man, so he keep rolling with him. Um, they're trying to come up with a song. And Lil Murda, he pretty much raps a hook out. It was a pretty nice little hook, but the producer wasn't really getting it, like the music wasn't really slapping for him. You know what I'm saying? So basically, he adds a little flavor to it, and he like it, whatever they like it. Boom, we go back to the club. So basically we just figure out that the club gets denied for PPP because, they're not considered essential, even though Uncle Clifford thinks otherwise. But they're not considered essential, so they're not getting the benefits that a lot of businesses were getting um during that time, right? So Haley basically is like, I pay him 250,000 for this club. You only owe 55,000 in back taxes. What'd you do with the rest of the money? And so Uncle Clifford's trying to tell her, I had to pay girls, I had to pay people, trying to keep our employment up. I was paying people, their salaries. That was about $55,000. I had to do renovations on the club from when you shot that guy in my hand to get rid of him and in the club. So that cost money. Plus a fire broke out, I think, that night. It was like all types of stuff happened in that club that night. They call it murder night because it was the last time that little murder actually had performed at the club that night, and then all hell broke loose. So yeah, it was a lot going on in one night. But nonetheless, basically saying they only got about 25K left of the money that she has, that she paid for it after everything. So yeah, that's pretty much when we found out that her Uncle Clifford are partners and she has 85% ownership. He has 15, and they're even though they're partnered, they're having this big power struggle because she has this thing of I am the actual owner, and he has this thing of but you can't run this club without me. So there's all that. All right. All right. So then what we hear is the girls, they're screaming and yelling, and sounds like it sounds as if some commotion is going on, but really they're happy because on the news, they're announcing that the lockdown is going to be lifted within the next week. So they're thinking, yes, we're going to get to open the club back up, get some business back in here, and start making some money. Everybody's all happy, right? In that same note, because it's the news, because you know the news, they slick with it. So they'll slip in a little good news, but then they bam send you back on that roller coaster and hit you with that bad news. And that's exactly what they did because they found out also at the end of that their mayor that they actually liked had passed away due to complications with um with the COVID. So they're all again sad. Let's go on this roller coaster. Let's ride. Okay, so they have this interim mayor. He's a white guy, Caucasian guy that's from that city, and he's not known to be too nice, to be honest. He's actually known to be more of a supremacist, and they are like, ew, that's not the person that we want to get into office, especially when the mayor that we had helped us out in so many ways. So boom, Andre, the next scene, we go to that. And it's Andre and his wife. We're at Andre and his wife's home. Again, lockdown. Andre is not working, so he at home playing Madden and and just missing apparently missing telephone calls. And his wife is what they call him? What they call him? Anyway, she's a nurse. So she's a nurse at the hospital. She's, seeing patients and stuff. So you see her come in, like she's taking off her scrub, taking off her shoes, putting her stuff in like toxic bags, hanging up her mask and stuff. Cause they had to wear the same mask over and over. So you see like two or three masks hanging up there. She sprays them all with like disinfectant and stuff. And basically just trying to disinfect as much as possible. Come to find out that patient's literally staying in parts of the house. And she looked rough, by the way. Like she looked stressed out, beat up, and bruised. But, she didn't say that she was sick or anything. So, yeah, so they're living in 2 parts of the house, like, he's staying in I guess, the upstairs part of the house. She's coming in and staying in the lower half of the house, and so they're using their telephones to communicate with one another. Well, he didn't, I guess, fill up her milk and stuff like that that he was supposed to do for her while she was at work. So she had to come upstairs to get some milk from him. And so she was like, "Hey, I've been calling you, I'm I just came up here to get some milk." That's a rough way to live. I just want to put that out there. Like that is a rough way to live. And I mean, I guess because I did not have any essential workers living within the home as with me, I didn't have to necessarily feel it that way. But to know that, maybe that you have essential workers living in the home with their families, feeling like I have to stay in another part of the house and quarantine myself on one side of the house and quarantine my family on the other side of the house because I'm having to deal with, going back and forth to work and dealing with patients that are dealing with these complications all day. So yeah, I thought that was really, really sad. So he, he was, like I said, he was playing his PlayStation. So he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," or whatever. And so he asked her how her day was, and she reluctantly said good. And then the phone rings. Well, actually, she tells him about his missed calls. And so she looks at his phone and she sees all these missed calls, and she's basically like, "What have you been doing all day?" And so he grabs the phone from her when the name Haley is mentioned, because Haley sent her condolences through a text message. So she was like, "Who is Haley?" And he's like, snatched the phone, which, by the way, is automatically makes you look stupid. It also makes you look guilty. So yeah, you did not play that one over well. Um, and yeah, so he does that, and he snatched the phone away. Then he finds out that the mayor died. The mayor happens to be his godfather. Okay, so he's really touched by that. That was a really big father figure, a really big prominent figure in his life. He wanted to go pay his respects. His wife was not trying to hear any of that. So she's like pleading with him, and she's telling him things like, "You know what? The reason I told you my day was good today because I had seven patients to die on me today. And the reason I said it was good is because yesterday I had 12. So that's why I said my day was good, because it was better than the day before. I'm sitting here basically watching this stuff happen on a daily basis. I don't want you out there. I don't want to lose you. I don't want to risk it. You talking about going to a funeral. I understand, but I don't want you out there. I'm scared, basically. And so he's like, I need to at least go and pay my respects, because this is my godfather. He was a father figure in my life. He practically raised me. Like, there's no way. Like, I don't have to go to the funeral, but I need to at the very least, want to go pay my respects. So he goes. Now the next scene. It's Harriet. Oh my gosh, Harriet. Harriet is Mercedes' mama, y'all, and like I said, told you she stole the money from Mercedes to buy this building that Mercedes had already looked at. She had already picked out for her dance studio. Her mom bought the same building and made it her church. Like, dirty, like dirty. It's one thing to take the girl money, but then you gonna buy the same exact building that she was gonna buy, like, dirty. Anyways, so Harriet is a church. Harriet has her church, and honey, she done got a food bank at the church. So I guess she, reveling in the glory of feeling like she's being productive and doing something, which she is. Don't get me wrong, because she has a food bank going. People are pulling up. They're putting boxes in the car. With food banks, she's giving out CDs with sermons on it. So she's just becoming the famous woman that she wanted, the famous clergyman that she wanted to be. With stolen money, booty money, as she called it. So we get to see her, reveling in her glory of doing her pull up and pull up and park and get a food bank box and a CD. And so, yeah, moving on. Lil Murder and his producer trying to produce. Oh, we already talked about that. Oops, I must have gave that out of order. It's okay, because it still happened. Lil Murder and trying to do his thing with the song, or it came out cool. So then we went back to Mercedes' home. Apparently, we find out that Haley is living with Mercedes because for some reason she hasn't found a place to work. But I'm assuming, or I'm sorry, not work, but live. Um, and they didn't really get into why. She just was kind of like, I haven't found a place that I liked. But so she's living with Mercedes, which is interesting considering that she's Mercedes' boss. They have their little squabble. They wake up. It's just a little short scene. Next, we go to Mississippi. This again. This show has a lot of moving parts, and you really have to keep up with what's going on in each character's life, in addition to how it all circles back around to the main plot. Miss Mississippi. Now, Miss Mississippi, she was one of the good dancers that everybody liked. She had started dancing with Lil Murda and like doing shows and stuff with him. And they had done a video together. They had kind of got a little fame, a little notoriety, at least locally. And we're trying to advance further than that. But with the pandemic and the club being shut down, they're at home like everybody else. Her husband and their little baby. So she has set up basically a pole in her room, or her and her husband, excuse me, have set up a pole in her room, and so there she goes live throughout the day and does lives and dances on live, and she's getting a lot of views and monetization and things like that, and endorsement deals and things like that. So she's actually making, or has built up a crowd and is making money off of, streams and revenue, and stream revenue and things of that nature. So they're surviving off of that. Now her husband has been laid off from his job, so he's kind of he's just at home, really. And so you see him taking care of the daughter and things of that nature while she's doing her lives. But you can tell that in his it's messing him up. His ego is hurt and bruised, and yeah, he's having a tough time, with the fact that he's not able to work. He's also having a tough time with the fact that his wife is the one that is the sole breadwinner, and also the fact that, she's still dancing and stuff. Because y'all know Derek didn't like the fact that Miss Mississippi was dancing in the first place. But because the money and all that, whatever, he allowed it, but he was at the club pretty much every time. And then anytime he felt like anybody did anything out the way, flirted with her, whatever, anything, he always got all jealous and angry and then beat on her about it. But anyways, and which is dumb because your wife works at a strip club. I thought you knew what came with the territory. Anywho, he got her into one of the bedrooms and she twirling around a pole on live. And of course, Derek being Derek, he's gonna tune into the live and watch all the comments on it because wanna know what she doing, what she's saying, who she doing and saying it to, and making sure she ain't doing too much and saying too much to the right and wrong, or to the wrong people. Period. He wants to control that whole situation. So boom. Go back to the scene with Mercedes. She's doing a live video basically with her dance girls. 'Cause remember I told you she had a little dance team. She's all excited because she's like, the lockdown's about to be lifted, so we're about to be able to get back into the dance studio and do our thing. Because she's trying to push on and persevere on, even though her mama done stole her money. Harriet, again, you're wrong for that. I'm not gonna get over that. You're wrong. You wrong. And then got the nerve to be the preacher. Girl. Girl. Anywho, all the girls basically said, my mama not gonna let me go. My mom not gonna let me go for various reasons. Most of the girls are like, my mama is too scared. The lockdown, my mama still not gonna let me go, even though it's been lifted. They don't trust it. They scared. They're not trying to do it. The other couple other girls was like, well, my mom said they can't afford it, or whatever the case may be. They don't have the money for it. So like, dang. When they boiled down to it, it was like maybe one girl that could be there. So here's off a way that this entrepreneur is trying to once again build her money back up with her dance team and bring in some revenue and things so that she can get back on her journey of trying to rebuild her money that her mama stole. It's like another block in the way. So I'm assuming, going to find some way to figure that out. Anyways, we go to the next one. We got Uncle Clifford. He the remixed the room that Haley had shot that guy in that I told y'all about from season one. Well, yeah, she shot him, blood splatter on the wall, boom. They redecorated the room and they can't get the blood to keep from seeping through, or the blood stain to keep from seeping through the paint. I mean, in my mind, I would think that you would put an object or something in front of it so that way, even if it did see through and all that, still be able to not have to worry about it as much. But they didn't do that, and they painted the walls white. Anywho, didn't work, and so they trying to figure that out. Um, okay, we're back. We're back. We had a little issue, but we're back. Okay. Oh yeah, Wody and Murder. Okay, so Lil Murder, since they talk about lifting the band, Lil Murder like, okay, cool. I want to go on tour. That's what I want to do. That I'm trying to hit it back. I'm trying to hit it hard. I got to get up out of here. You know what I mean? So he go to see Wody, which is his manager, and Wody works at a funeral home. So Wody literally was asleep in a casket, y'all. If y'all could seen the way he woke up out this casket and the way Lil Murder was ready to shoot him, I don't know why he would have shot a corpse, but scared him that bad. So anyway, he tells him like, "Hey, Walter, I want to go on tour." And so Walter like, "You gonna go to tour in the middle of a pandemic? Who coming to see you?" And he's like, "Well, we about to be lifted, whatever the case may be. I just need you on board, whatever the case may be." So Walter like, "All right, well, let's see what we can get going." In the meantime, it flips right back to Miss Mississippi, aka Keyshawn, who is talking to Derek. Uh, no, I'm sorry, she wasn't talking to Derek. Lamerta called her. And so she basically like, you still owe me money from the last stuff that I did with you. So like run me my stacks. That's one. And two, going on tour. I don't see that happening. And she doesn't really give the real reason for it. Because the real reason is because Derek is not finna let her out the house. That's the real reason. This girl can barely go to the dollar store to get moon pies. But she definitely like Derek got his control, like he got her on a thumb. Like lead with an iron fist, like Derek counting Pampers and like think like actually looking at how many Pampers are being used and like, oh dang, she's using more Pampers than usual. I thought I just bought some Pampers. Like Derek is on it. He is micromanaging from the top. And all right. Miss Mississippi actually took a couple Pampers and was putting them away in a little thing. It looks like they're making it seem as if maybe she's looking for a way out or a way to escape Derek, maybe in a later episode. So we're gonna keep a watch for that. Now the next scene we're back with Andre. He's at the wake now. He's paying his respects. All right. He ends up actually seeing someone that he knows who is family, and they end up actually needing an extra additional pallbearer. So he actually ends up staying to do that. He actually does see Haley. They catch up for a little while, and just talk or whatever at the funeral. And yeah, she again gave him her condolences. So the next scene, we're at the funeral, and it looks like a New Orleans bayou theme. They're dressed in like a light green, and they're kind of doing like a parade, if you will. Um, so that was interesting because I didn't know Mississippi actually did something like that. It was like a bayou style situation. And then we had Uncle Clifford and his mom. They're watching on TV. So the mama is, excuse me, the mom wants some chitlins because she knows that his the mayor's third baby mama cook some chitlins. So she want Clifford to go over there and get chitlins. He don't want to go get chitlins because he was wearing his mask. So whatever. He ended up going anyway. So that didn't even matter. All right, they flip back to Miss Mississippi and Derek. It's a lot of flipping back and forth. Again, a lot of moving parts. Maybe some more Pampers. And so he's like, "Well, dang, the baby really been using a lot more Pampers, here lately. Like, it seems like I just bought Pampers." He was like, "So, yeah, okay, I'll go to the store and get some." She was like, "Well, can I go to the store and get them?" And he was like, "No, I'll go." And she was like, "No, I mean, I really want to get out. Plus, um, basically, I need some tampons or whatever." Like, she literally has to use tampons as her excuse to keep this man from going to the store and to allow her to leave the house and go to the store. So clearly, she ain't been. And other people have even said like he's keeping her in the house. He's keeping her in the house. That's why actually Lil Murder ended up calling her to see if she would get on board with going on tour because Wody had just told her like, I don't know how you gonna get Keyshawn out the house because Derek got her on lock and he ain't letting her out. So she not even returning my telephone calls. Anywho, he reluctantly lets her out to go to this store. She goes to the store. Lo and behold, Diamond, the man she pulled the gun on, is working security at the store. Diamond was security for the club too. He's security for the dollar store, so he's the man that's got to make sure everybody got on a mask. Keyshawn don't bring no mask, so she has to walk up to him. They notice each other. That awkward moment happens where they just stare at each other for a second, and then she has to try to muster up some words to tell him because this is the same man that she pulled a gun on the last night that the club was open, and before everybody got shot up. So uncomfortable situation. He's still clearly pissed about the situation. He don't want to talk about it. She's trying to address it. She's trying to apologize. He ain't trying to hear it. Period. And above all, she ain't got no mask on, so you can't come in. Yeah. So, anyways, she ends up getting turned around and going back to her car, doing a couple little cute hair flips because that was all it was giving. Diamond was not letting her in or trying to hear any of her excuses or anything. But when he confronted her about being called a gutter N word, she was like, "Oh, he would never say that. He's never said that." He was like, "Well, why do you think I was fighting him in the first place? Just to be fighting him, or fighting him because I was fighting him over you? No, I was fighting him because what he called me." He's like, "I can only imagine what he called you at home." She was like, he would never do that to me, blah, blah, blah. So I think that one's gonna come back as well. So we should be it should be an interesting plot line between Keyshawn. I'm actually interested to see what Keyshawn and Derek have this season. All right, so then we go back to Andre and Uncle Clifford. This is at the repass now. So Uncle Clifford has showed up at the house with his Tupperware bowl to come get his bowl of chitlins for his grandmother, and all the guys, Andre and some of the other pallbearers, the sons of the mayor, they're sitting on the porch or whatever, basically making fun of Andre because he's 6'5" and doesn't play basketball, and basically telling him how much he wasted his height. um, so yeah, the interim mayor, the guy I was telling you about, he actually is from season one. He was actually one of the guys who had another brother, and he actually had two brothers. He had one biracial brother and one all white brother. That him and his brother had the same mother and father, but his father had a bastard child with a black lady, and so they had this bastard brother. The bastard brother and the other two brothers were all left in the father's will when he died, and so they were trying to sell land. The other brother was trying to keep the land. They were trying to sell the land because they didn't do nothing with the land that they had with that they owned anyway. They just really wanted the money from it. Whereas the biracial brother actually used the land and farmed the land and therefore made his living that way and did not want to sell. So that was a whole thing. So, anyways, one of the white brothers actually is running for mayor. And like I said, he has this white supremacy thing going on. They mind you, the two white brothers despise their mixed brother and really don't have any type of relationship with them. So you have the white brothers that were actually pushing for selling the land and the casino being built. And then you have the biracial brother who's trying not to get the casino built and also trying to save the land at the same time. Whole shebang. A lot of moving parts. Just a lot of moving parts. All right. So boom, the interim mayor, he comes up and basically, in my opinion, lies because you were on the team for this casino and everything that was going down last year. But now that you the mayor, the only person on the ballot, left on the ballot now that the mayor has died, the only person who was running against you, now you're like, oh, I plan on doing just a regular politician thing and carrying on the bull with the lies of all, basically telling people what they want to hear. So he basically was like, oh, I plan on upholding everything that the current mayor was doing. Yeah, right. If he was doing that, you wouldn't be running against him. But whatever. So Andre actually ended up stays in town, and the mixed brother actually ends up coming to the house that night, and it's interesting because it's like you see one of the white brothers and at first, and then his brother, who wanted the exact opposite in season one, visits that night with like 2 stacks of money. And he leaves it on the porch, knocks on the door, whatever. Andre comes out to all this money on the porch, and he's like, "For what?" And he's like, "Basically, for you to still be on my team to try to do what we was trying to do back in season one." And so Andre, like, I don't even work for the company I used to work for anymore, so I'm not even on the casino deal, blah, 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 blah. And so he's like, well, that's your retainer fee. You working for me, or you working with me. So, boom, that happens. He walks away, the scene's over. All right. So, now we kind of get into the end. Last two scenes. We go back to Haley and Mercedes. Haley has put on Instagram that she was basically has auditioning open for new girls to come to the club. She feels like they need more talent because what they have is not enough. Mercedes don't like that whole idea. And basically, Haley put her foot down and was like, I'm the owner. What I say, go. I don't have to ask nobody for no permission. It's my club. So Mercedes like, well, yes, the boss. I guess I'll just go sit down. And then she starts singing a slave hymn, and I'm not gonna lie, that one took me out. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, she's so petty in this very moment right now. What's funny though? And then that scene is over with. So then they go back to Murder for his last scene, and Murder in his house, and he literally having a whole meltdown. Not gonna say he having a meltdown because it's not a meltdown, but you can see basically how being confined to the house is taking a mental toll on him, and the stresses of wanting to get out and do his music and go on tour and his new song that he going to present to the world, everything. He's just so excited about it, but he's confined in the house, and he's really wanting to make it, as he say, out that mud. Um, so yeah, he trying to get out the Mississippi mud and all that good stuff. So, you see him kind of imagining himself on stage, imagining himself doing good stuff, good and big things with the song, his hit song that he wants to put out. And so it ends there. Now, episode 2, I think, comes on. I don't even know what day this one comes on, honestly. I think it's Friday, and today is what, Monday? So I'm gonna try to keep up with this one, y'all. I'm gonna try to keep up with this one because this one to me is good. I like the Chasing Reality brand. That one is good because it allows us to see how people are marketing themselves, what people are doing to bring more awareness to their brands and all that. People, that's trying to get off the ground. And then we have um P Valley here, which is an established business that has been a business for a long time, and they're just really trying to keep the longevity of the business going. And so the different struggles with that, but also people who are also on a lower level of creating businesses that are not traditional brick and mortar businesses, but like, say, for instance, Murder, he's still trying to do his artistry thing. You have people that are now using streaming sites and things of that nature, making videos and going live and making money in other ways that are not necessarily been the traditional ways. But then you also have the group of people who are also heavily affected by the shutdown and not being able to bring in money and things of that nature, and having all their kids at home at the same time, apparently. So it's a lot of interesting ways to look at all of these. And then you got Bad Boys LA, excuse me. Those guys as well are kind of like up and coming guys who are trying to get their brands out there and create that brand awareness. And bring people to their products and services. So I'm doing this because these are entertaining shows, guys. It just is what it is. These shows are very entertaining. I watch these shows when I'm not talking to y'all or researching some information about finances, or ways, thinking, coming up with different tips and researching different, just information, education. And this is some of the stuff that I do and some of the things that I watch. And this is honestly how I get some ideas and things on how to even do stuff for myself. So, yeah, I like watching these shows. I like reviewing these shows, and I like seeing what is going on. And all of this stuff takes place when you're dealing with a business or a business owner. You're gonna have days that are good. You're gonna have days that are not so great. Sales may be up, sales may be down. You may have a pandemic or some type of other situation crisis that comes along that may get in the way. Maybe you have people that are working against you over here while these people are working with in support of you. Or maybe money is an issue, or just so many different things that can play a part in it. And as a business owner, you experience a lot, and even down to the mental health um, aspect of it. So yeah, this is why we're covering these shows. They're entertaining, but they're also educational at the same time. So I definitely thank you for tuning into the videos. Keep on tuning into these reviews. Thank you so much for all this love and support. If you want to check me out on any of my social media, they've been strolling across the bottom of this screen across the bottom of this screen for the longest. So just rewind it and you can catch all of them. Any donations or anything like that, there's cash apps, things in place that you can do. So I definitely thank you guys for all your love and support, all your continued support to a lot of you guys. Thank you so much. You have a nice day.